Hey everybody, good morning, happy Monday. This is your Science 7 Monday Note with Miss Ellsmore. I was just going to go over everything in the Google Classroom and show you a few things that have been added. So in my screen here, whenever you log into your Science 7 Google Classroom, it always shows up in Stream, which can be a little confusing. So we always go to that classwork tab. Mine looks a little bit different because I'm a teacher. Under this distance learning resources, what we just added today are your elective classes. So clicking on that, your elective classes have all started Google Classrooms. You'll see their Google Classroom code, whatever elective you may be in. So you can scroll down, there's lots of them in there. So please add those elective classes. Those teachers probably sent students an invite to join that class using email, but this is another way to add those in there. And that way you have all those resources in one spot. And I know the elective teachers have made some good videos and stuff like that. So definitely cool to check out. I appreciate their work. Also, I want to remind you that a few people have asked about the Zoom meeting codes. This is always going to just kind of stay at the top here. So every Tuesday, 11:30 to 12:30-ish, I've seen everybody stop in and ask questions. The Zoom code link to click will always be right here. So I don't issue new ones every week, just based on the settings. It's just the same one. So that's where you'd find that. All right, so just want to point those items out. And then for this week of April 20th to the 24th, here's what we got going on this week. So I usually always do an introduction here. You guys all had great ideas for the Mystery Monday question on Kentucky Ridge on campus there. We have another campus-based question this week with our Mystery Monday. But our focus still this week is threats to biodiversity. And we want to think about things that are impacting habitat across the globe in particular. So that's kind of our theme. And yes, it is Earth Day on Wednesday. So with this calendar, I'll also point out that you have your full week calendar for 7th grade. So that's showing you every single class. So you can kind of prioritize what you'd like to accomplish each day. But what also I've added in here is a science one, if that's an easier way for you to view your assignments and kind of check them off like a checklist. So just getting a glance at what we got for this week. Your invasive species unwanted posters are due today. And you can, of course, chime into our Mystery Monday question. You'll see that. You'll see a few other items on here, and you'll also see the links. Those things are all on Google Classroom, but this kind of gives you an overview if that's an easier way for you to access that. All right, I'm going to go through each of these assignments, but I'm going to do it on the Google Classroom because that's how most of us are going to be looking at our assignments. So today, Monday, our question has to do with upper campus trees. And with our short video there's some pictures of upper campus courtyard. I really appreciate how last week people were using our claim, evidence, and reasoning format. Just 3 sentences. What do you think is happening? That's your claim. What would your evidence be? You know, that's really your support, your facts, your data, your information. And then your reasoning is kind of tying it all together, saying this is the reason why it's happening. And remember, we're guessing, but it's really cool to see what people have to say. This week I turned on a setup so you can comment to each other. Just remember, it needs to be polite and respectful. So if somebody has a great idea, let them know they have a great idea. If you disagree, that's fine, but it's important to respectfully disagree. So just to get a little more interaction between students, I've turned on the way that you can make comments to each other. Of course, we'd need to have people turn it in so you can make comments, but it is still early in the morning. So that'll be kind of fun. On Tuesday, some other things I have added here. I recorded a video of notes kind of explaining why habitat loss is occurring. There's kind of some really specific things that are causing that, and we should be aware of that so we can focus on solutions. That's a pretty short video, just giving you overall explanation, big picture. And then you do have a short video about seed dispersal, about brown spider monkeys. and how they spread seeds in a forest and how forest fragmentation or breaking up the forest affects that. So this is an example of an ed puzzle. So in the video, it'll ask you questions as you go along. So it's not too long, but it maybe will be kind of fun because you'll watch your video and answer questions at the same time. And there's a few silly things in there. That's our plan. And then on Wednesday is Earth Day. There are 2 articles to read. If doing a lot of reading, it gets a little bit much, especially on the screen. This article, you can also listen to the audio version of it. It's just about 4 minutes. And there's also one about palm oil, so this one's pretty short. But the question is, how are my cookies destroying rainforests? How you're going to be answering that question or showing what you think is on this Google Doc. So how are my cookies destroying rainforests? Once again, each of these 2 things are linked here, so if that makes it easier. We're using our claim, evidence, and reasoning format. I tried to give you a little more supporting information about how to do that. You'd be typing right underneath here under your claim. So how is it that the cookies are destroying the rainforest? What have you gathered? The big idea from the readings. So that usually is just one complete sentence. It's like your topic sentence in a paragraph. Your evidence, this is the data. This is what specific things are being impacted and how this connects to cookies. And remember, we're still thinking about maintaining biodiversity and solutions. So in our reasoning, I'm kind of asking more to focus on solutions. Since we're aware of how our cookies could be impacting rainforests, what are some things that we could be doing differently? We don't need to give up cookies because cookies are delicious, but think about some solutions. Okay, so you'd be typing directly onto this setup, tried to make it a little easier for you. And then this is what you'd be turning in. It'll automatically put your name on it and the title, and it'll be in your Google Drive for you to attach. Okay, and let me know if you have questions about that as you're cruising along. But make sure to actually read these articles because that's where you're getting your information for your claim, evidence, and reasoning. All right, so that's for Wednesday. And then the other thing I have added here, we have Tuesday on here twice. That wouldn't normally happen. But since Wednesday is Earth Day, I also wanted to include some solutions about things that we can do each day to help preserve habitat. And this is looking at habitat destruction specifically, but it also looks at our purchases, what we buy, and how we can kind of reduce our impact that way. So this is just something for you to check out and think about. Nothing needs to be turned in on that. That's just kind of extra. And then on Thursday, Conservation Island Design Plan. So this is a pretty fun project in that, let's see if I can open this all the way. There we go. Okay, so for this project, what we have here, I do a video on how you can submit it, but basically the Conservation Island is this pretend island that has 3 threatened species of creatures. And of course, there are people on the island too who want to preserve their way of life and how they use natural resources. So you're going to read through this PDF, this information. It's a slideshow, and it gives background information on what is the habitat like, and is it primary forest or secondary forest, and what are the needs of those particular creatures. After you read through that information about those particular creatures and what their needs are, let's pull that up because we should probably look at it together. You're going to develop a design plan to conserve certain areas of this island to maintain biodiversity and also address the needs of the people, because we need to be able to do both. As you cruise through here, there's a map of the island itself. There's some background information about habitat loss occurring, right? That's kind of our big theme. There's some rules about how much land you can possibly designate and what the priorities are. So there's kind of a lot of things to think about. And this is a wide open, you can answer these questions and preserve whichever habitat you want. But I will say that you just kind of need to think about lots of different pieces coming together. And that's what happens in real life conservation. It's not always an easy process. So there's some background information. There's about people and how they use natural resources in that area. There's information about these threatened species. And no, these 3 species are imaginary, but they are modeled off of real species. You have some information about where the native range of each of these species are located. And then you're going to kind of put all this information together to make your own conservation plan. And with this conservation plan, you're going to draw areas on the map to conserve particular locations. But realize wherever you're conserving, you have to have a reason for it based on your reading and all those kind of pieces you're trying to fit together. Notice how we're doing our claim, evidence, and reasoning always. So that's kind of the thing to start with. And then let me go back to the Google Classroom and show you what you're actually going to be turning in. So there's a video to explain kind of how to use this more, but I'll just give you a quick glance. So the thing that you'll actually be recording your information on is a Google Draw. It's got this red symbol here. And this should automatically make a copy for you with your name at the top, which is handy. You're going to be drawing specific areas on here, so you can watch the video about how to do that. And in some ways, drawing those polygons or squares is basically your claim of this is the area we should conserve because it's going to provide habitat for all 3 of those species, or it's going to preserve natural resources for the people. And yes, you can just type right onto here your claim, evidence, and reasoning, just like we've been practicing. But remember, your claim is like your topic sentence, like your big idea. Your evidence is really information you gathered about those species and the people. And then the last part is really thinking about long-term sustainability of the species and people. This, when you have this finished, will be then turned in on the assignments part. So this is supposed to be creative, a lot of pieces coming together, and there's lots of ways to answer that. So hopefully will find that interesting. So those are our main things that we have for this week. And once again, if you guys have any questions, please let me know. Hopefully internet and everything is working for people that have internet. And yes, I will post this video in the 7th grade weekly calendar spot, so you can access it that way. And I hope everybody has a great week. All right, bye.